Well, the team took the day off yesterday, but we're back just in time to crown a new Rich Dick of the Week. Thanks for the nominations on social media. Co-op member Mitchell nominated the CIA for creating a podcast. I suppose that's the least of the reasons the spy agency should be nominated, but still worthy. Gavin Newsom nominated for still not signing legislation that would make it easier for farm workers to vote in union elections. Also nominated all the U.S. lawmakers who posted the same garbage attacking Rashida Tlaib. Mentioned that earlier in the show. And the mayor of Detroit, Mike Dugan, is nominated. His city is now the latest dealing with lead in the drinking water. And finally, Rona did not nominate landlords this week, but they did nominate something adjacent. Hucksters selling tenants something called security deposit insurance, which is basically a scam to screw over renters. Don't buy it. Once again, thank you for all the nominations. But this week's Rich Dick is Larry Summers. So for decades, the man has been a fixture in neoliberal economic policymaking. He's served 2 Democratic presidents as Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton and the chair of Barack Obama's National Economic Council. He's also been an informal advisor to President Joe Biden. The guy's fingerprints are all over the current structure of the U.S. economy, especially when it comes to deregulation and privatization. Championed the repeal of Glass-Steagall in 1999, which turned commercial banks into casinos. He pushed for the Commodities Futures Modernization Act of 2000, which deregulated the derivatives market on Wall Street. The 2 reforms led to a series of recessions that crushed working class people. And Summers was also instrumental in ensuring that those very same working class people wouldn't get the help that they need. He pushed to whittle down the stimulus package proposed by President Obama during the Great Recession. He thought it was too big and generous for workers. And he also rejected the idea of giving significant aid to distressed homeowners to prevent widespread evictions. While at the same time, Summers supported massive bailouts for bankers. Every policy he's touched has left the working class worse off. And yet Summers seems completely unaware of what he has wrought with his whole career. This week, he was posting on Twitter about the so-called labor shortage, why it is that so many young men are not working at the moment. There's actually an easy explanation for that. Companies are not paying people enough to do crummy jobs, and there's still a pandemic going on, despite what Joe Biden might claim. But Summers wanted to go deeper and suspected something larger was at play. He tweeted, quote, "There is some social phenomenon which I suspect explains non-work, non-marriage, deaths of despair, general alienation, and I suspect the rise of reactionary populism. It should be a major task of social science to understand it." Yes, won't someone get on this, please? Won't someone diagnose this phenomenon? Tell me you haven't read Marx without telling me you haven't read Marx. There are entire books devoted to how capitalism alienates workers and produces societal ills. But I guess Summers has been content living in his little neoliberal bubble, completely unaware of the decay all around him. Summers is so clueless about what's happening to workers in this economy that one day after he wrote that tweet, just one day, he posted that it was good that the Federal Reserve was deliberately trying to crash the economy. Not kidding. Summers tweeted, quote, "The Federal Reserve is continuing its adjustments towards reality with rates predicted to rise to 4.6 in 2023, slower growth and higher unemployment. Good to see." Slower growth and higher unemployment. Good to see. Good to see. Damn, what's up with all this despair? Also, a new survey found that 54% of Americans have mental health struggles like anxiety and depression directly linked to their student loans. But guess who opposed Biden's plans to cancel just a fraction of total student loan debt out there? That's right, Larry Summers, who called it inflationary and unreasonably generous. Again, this coming from the guy who supported bank bailouts. Is this your tweet, Larry? Is this your tweet? Anyways, if Summers really can't figure out what's driving all this alienation and despair for workers, I have a tip for him. Turn on your monitor, dipshit. Larry Summers, this week's Rich Dick. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.